Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Nolan Kangas, Bradshaw, Furlong, Luca, Moia, and Jeff Wall. Boy, oh boy, it has been a long time. But with that said, we have a great series that we're starting. You know, obviously the NFL does their top 100 players. That is a long time. Or I guess, so many. We're going to do 50. And this was so incredibly hard. What I did as the host is I got all these guys to privately send me their top 50 players. And I tried to find the median of where they had them and found our top 50. Is it a little nuts? Yes. There are some players that got left off, and I'm going to go to them and tell you who got left off and why it was so surprising. But for this episode right here, we're going to go 50 to 41. We'll go through, where these players are ranked. Some of us have them way higher. Why should they be higher? And some of us have them way lower. So we'll go through all of that. So guys, that being said, honorable mentions. I was pretty disappointed. This player getting left off, a quarterback. So some of us didn't have him. Dak Prescott did not make the top 50.
What?
He did not make the top 50.
It's a joke.
There's a cornerback. I was the only one who didn't have this corner. James Bradbury did not make the top 50.
Nolan's cracked. Get him out of here. Bad host.
I'm trying to look where I had him.
One of the better linebackers in football, Darius Leonard, did not make the top 50.
I didn't have him.
No,
I didn't have him. Oh, and what, Jeff? You want a run stopping linebacker in there? All right, sure.
I didn't have him.
He's good in coverage. Get out of here. I looked up his stats.
All right, Micah Parsons lover. Big Micah Parsons guy over there.
This one was kind of stunning. Nick Chubb didn't make the top 50. I know running back, some people were, but I thought he would have been on there. Wow. He didn't make it. There's a few other ones that are surprising. Another one, he almost got up there because Luca had him really high. Allen Robinson missed the cut.
Oh, wow. He was my number 50.
He was Luca's, I believe Luca's number 18.
No,
not his number 18. He was in 30s, right?
33.
33.
Luca was like, whoa, hold on.
I didn't know
18.
It wasn't that crazy, yeah.
Okay.
So that would have been Jeff. That would have been Jeff's ranking at 18.
No, Darnell Mooney would have been at 10.
It is
will be
like all these players that that were left off the list, but we got to get started. Number 50 of the Cover 4 podcast, top 50 players heading into 2021. Bradshaw's guy, Grady Jarrett.
Oh, he just snuck in. All right, let's go.
He was a 50th ranked player. Everyone was pretty consistent with this, except for yours truly. I didn't have Jarrett on my top 50. He was in my kind of honorable mentions. I didn't know where to place him. But most of them were, I believe we had him, in that 41 range, 39 range, stuff like that. And I think somebody had it maybe in the 44 or something.
I have him at 44, yeah.
So pretty consistent all over the board there. But Bradshaw, so we'll send it to you. Why is Grady Jarrett deserving of the top 50?
I'm a little biased, but like for a true defensive tackle, I think he is like maybe I'll say second best. I won't say the best, but he's like one of the top 3 like pass rushing pure defensive tackles. And he does it with nobody else on the line. Like this poor man has had to put up with so much garbage from the Falcons pass rush, and he is so good every year. And I mean, Luca saw it in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. Like he was wrecking havoc. He's so good. And again, he does it with nobody. And I'm happy that he's on the list. I was unsure when I put him in. I was like, I don't know if I'm being a homer here by putting him in. I'm glad he's there because I love watching Grady Jarrett. Like he's the only Falcons defensive player that I can get excited about, except for AJ Terrell, but he's not a top 50 player.
Yeah, so obviously he lands at the 50 spot. I will tease, sorry, Bradshaw. He's the only Falcon.
He's the only Falcon I had on the top 50. I thought about sneaking in Calvin Ridley, but I couldn't sneak Calvin Ridley in over like Allen Robinson. Like, that's just weird. I couldn't do that.
This one, we'll go over to 49 quickly because everyone was pretty consistent on this one. 2 players didn't have this guy. 2 did. But I'll go over to Jeff on here because he is a Ohio State alum. Chase Young coming in at 49. I thought that was a little early for me. I'd like to see one more really good year. But Jeff, why so high on Chase Young?
I think we just all know the potential of Chase Young. And that's kind of what I was doing for the most part, just projecting where things were. Like, even when I was like, for instance, when I was ranking the quarterbacks, I was thinking like, oh God, I got to put Dak Prescott in there. But then I thought to myself, like, with the leg injury, right, and one of his best abilities is his mobility, right? It kind of hurt my ranking. I was even thinking of putting Burrow in there, to be honest with you, because I thought he was so good. I looked up some really cool stats, which, maybe we'll talk about some other time. But it was one of those things where I just felt like looking forward, he has no injuries. He's an absolute monster. And he's very versatile. He's super athletic. And I think he still has a lot of room to grow. I think this next year, he's going to be a double-digit sack guy for sure. There's no question in my mind, at least. And I think he's going to be a big key in the Washington football team's playoff push coming into this next year. So, I mean, I think honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if next year he emerges in one of the top 5 pass rushers in the NFL. I would not be shocked at all.
All right. Yeah. Well, obviously, he's going to be super, super talented, but I was a little surprised 49, but I think some of you guys obviously had him. Bradshaw, you didn't have him.
I did not know.
Right. And so, Luca, you had him, I think, a little bit higher.
I'm like 34. I am really, I did, because I just, like Jeff said, I had based off of last year and what I think he's going to do this year, like what Jeff said, I think he's going to be a top 5 pass rusher in the league for sure.
I have no issue with him being in the top 50. That's fine with me. I'm not some Chase Young hater or anything. He's certainly deserving.
This one at 48, I was surprised that, 2 of you guys didn't have him. And if you were shocked that Darius Leonard missed the list, I'm shocked this guy's this low. Lavonte David at 48.
I did have him.
Bradshaw had him a little lower. I had him, I believe, as my 29th ranked player. Yes, Devin White, fantastic. I think, Luca, you had Devin White on your list, didn't have David. I just think Lavonte David adds so much to that defense. He's so smart. He's so good in coverage. He's so good stopping the run. I don't think he gets enough credit on that defense. Obviously, the defense is what won them the Super Bowl. Sure, Tom Brady was fantastic as well. But, Jeff, went over and over again. He was the only one to predict it. You had Winfield, obviously, but you had, Vita Vea coming off an injury. He was fantastic. You had the edge rushers, Bear and JPP. Those guys in the middle, White and David, are so important to that defense. And we talk about, maybe you don't pay linebackers. Those guys are worth it. They're that good. And I think he's that talented. So our linebacking expert, Jeff, why didn't you have Lavonte David on there? Do you think he, between him and Darius Leonard, who would you have rather had on the list?
So in my actual linebacker rankings, I won't give him all away. I had Lavonte David just behind him. I actually waffled back and forth between who is slightly better. I just gave Leonard the edge because I thought they were so close, but the fact that David actually did have more help. Obviously, I think Lavonte David's had an amazing career. I don't think there's any question about that. But I think Leonard had a little bit less help, obviously with Devin White beside him. And then, I think the Bucks coverage was really good. The back end coverage was really good, which makes his job easier naturally. And the front 7 just generally has been a very good unit. So I just mostly gave Leonard the edge on the fact that, there's more help. And again, because of projection, David is a bit older. And at some point, he's going to start declining a little bit athletically. And he's always been a super athletic linebacker.
Yep, that's completely fair. This one, again, 2 of us didn't have him on the list. I believe he's our 7th ranked receiver. So we have him as the 7th best wide receiver in football. Maybe that is the range where this player is. A.J. Brown at 47. Again, maybe just me, and you guys can, come in after. I think we have to pump the brakes a little bit. I still think after the catch, he's so dynamic, ridiculously good. But he still had a lot of drop issues, right, this past season. We're going to see how he is with Julio Jones on the other side, whether that's, beneficial to him or takes some targets away. I don't know if he's a top 50 player yet. That's why I didn't put him there. Maybe I'm just on this weird phase. I think, we got to slow down the brakes a bit. But again, he's still super talented, still a Pro Bowl caliber type of player. But why should A.J. Brown be on this top 50? If anybody can chime in.
I don't know if I had him the highest, but I had him at 39. I think that was one of the ones, because I did a bit of both. I did a bit of projecting, a little bit of past performance as well. Lavonte David was a lot of, not a lot of, but definitely some past performance and how good he's been. A.J. Brown does a lot of projections. I'm betting that he's going to be a top 5 receiver this year. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me. The talent is all there, and he'll have the opportunity in a really great offense. And he'll have more, not more space, but more he'll just have less attention being drawn to him with Julio Jones there. And I think you'll finally start to see him start to ascend even further than he already has. I'm a big A.J. Brown guy. So I definitely think he deserves to be a top 50 player.
Jeff actually had him the highest. Jeff, I think you had him 35th.
Okay. Yes. So he and I were pretty close then.
Yeah, I mean the reason I agree, and I think if you just look at last year compared to 2 years ago compared to this most recent year, I think you saw a pretty big jump. Like it was a noticeable jump, and he was already a great rookie as it was. And then you just think about the fact, like what Bradshaw said, I think that he's going to get a lot more. He's going to get open more, but I also think the Titans are going to pass it a lot more this season. I think, Derrick Henry's been a 2,000-yard rusher. That's the wheels are going to come off at some point, man. I mean, I know we think that he's amazing. I hope he has a great career. I hope he defies all logic. But there also was a ton of times too. We mentioned it as well, where Derrick Henry would be like, he had like 35 or 15 yards in the fourth quarter. It's like they're going to start passing the ball more because they have a lot more weapons. They're going to have more reason to do so. So I think AJ Brown's going to shine because of that.
Now this next player I think is criminally underrated. Don't know if I'm as high as Bradshaw is on him, but our 46th ranked player, Cameron Hayward. Bradshaw had 31st.
31st, yep.
And I don't think Jeff or Luca had him. I think he's underrated, but why is he so damn good that he's good enough to be the 31st best player, Bradshaw?
I think, again, that was, my balance of, projecting and past performance. I think Cam Hayward has been so damn good for so damn long that I have to give him, you have to give him, in my opinion, I want to give him his respect and put him a little higher. And he's so consistent, and I don't think I don't think his profile is such that, I don't think he's going to fall off crazy, athletically. So, and he's been anchoring that defense, and he's going to have to anchor it again in this year if the Steelers want to do anything. So I'm not even a big Cam Hayward fan. I just have so much respect for what he's done in his career that I think he has to be in the top 50. I mean, I certainly believe so. He was almost top 30 for me.
Similar situation to our guy here at 45. So I think the respect is kind of dwindled down a little bit on Stephon Gilmore as the 45th best player. That was Luca's 29th ranked player.
A little biased.
Not looking happy here.
Defensive player of the year.
Why should Gilmore be higher?
Wow. I mean, yeah, you could say I'm a little bit biased. And to be completely fair, I think I had 2 corners ahead of him. And it's just because I've just seen a lot of Stephon Gilmore just because I watch him week in, week out. He's a former defensive player of the year. We all know that. And I just put him on because corners, Jeff, I think is on my side for this, the secondary and things like that. But he does so much more than just take away the best receiver on the other team. He just fits that defense so good for New England. So from a pure value standpoint, he is so valuable to that New England defense. Like when he went out last year, I know J.C. Jackson had an amazing year, but man, it looked like it just looked different. It felt different, and he's a great tackler on the outside as well. So he forces turnovers. Like, what more do you want? You guys, you guys probably put him a bit lower. That's why he's ranked this low. But week in, week out, he just shows up, and hopefully they re-sign him this year because he's a big piece to the defense.
I'm just counting all the corners. I think he ends up being our 6th ranked corner on the list, which maybe that's a bit low. But corner is such a stacked position in the NFL right now. Obviously, this position is obviously incredibly stacked. Keenan Allen comes in at 44. This is the first player on our list, I believe. Second player where we've actually had 3 people on the podcast say this guy should be a top 50 player. I think the only one who wasn't was Bradshaw, right?
Me, yeah.
Bradshaw, this is arguably one of the best route runners in football, has one of the best releases in football. Why is he not a top 50 player?
I just think there are better. I was thinking about it from okay, what receivers would I rather have over Keenan Allen right now? And the guys I have on my list, I think just near the bottom here, I'd rather have Allen Robinson right now. I think Allen Robinson has never had a good quarterback. And I think because of that, people don't quite. I mean, Jeff realizes how good Allen Robinson is, but I think people don't realize how good Allen Robinson is. If he had Justin Herbert this past season, I think people would be like, "Oh my God, Allen Robinson! When was he this good?" I would rather have him. I would rather have Michael Thomas. I would rather have AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs. I'd rather have these guys than Keenan Allen. I love Keenan Allen. It's just when I'm looking at my receivers and I'm going through my 50, and I'm like, okay, I can't have him ahead of an Allen Robinson or an AJ Brown. So he had to miss by a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Keenan Allen is ultra talented as well, but you mentioned one name there that did not make this list either, which was surprising, but I think only one person voted for him. Michael Thomas, who was
probably me.
Yeah, I think he was the offensive player of the year. What is that? 2 years ago now.
Two, yeah.
Broke the receptions record and didn't make this list. Obviously, he dealt with injuries all of last season, and now it's going to be another weird situation, whether it's Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston playing quarterback. Let's go over to 43, and Jeff, I'll throw it over to you because this was your 24th ranked player, I believe, TreDavious White of the Buffalo Bills. So a corner who was ranked higher than Stephon Gilmore, but again, he lands quite a bit lower than what you would have had him. Why do you think Trey White should be up?
I just think because through the years he's been very, very consistent as a player. I didn't really have that many corners on my list, to be honest with you, because obviously safeties are more valuable. We don't need to get in that here. I just thought I'd mention it.
I have a feeling I know who there's a player apparently that was ranked in the 40s and someone got ranked in the top 3. I feel like I know who that is, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to it throughout all these podcasts, but I just think he's really, really good, man. Like every time, similar actually to Stephon Gilmore, also a former Buffalo Bill, and he plays like this super physical style, which I love. Maybe that makes you a little bit biased, but I just feel like he actually does make a lot of good plays on the ball, and he baits quarterbacks to throw to him. That is a big deal, right? Like to be able to find that balance of actually just shutting a guy down and the ability to actually show up and make a play on the ball when the ball comes your way. That's hugely important for me. So I had him a little bit higher, mostly because of that. And just because I think he's been so consistent, man. And for me with corners, I think you have to be really consistent. And when you fall off, it worries me a little bit. I won't lie. That's why I didn't really have a guy like Stephon Gilmore as high on the list as I might have.
You mentioned safeties. Now you're higher on safeties than you are.
Here it is.
This next player, at 42, you didn't have on your list. Only 2 people did, Bradshaw and I, and we were both right in the same spot. I had him 33rd. Bradshaw had him 30th. Harrison Smith, safety of the Minnesota Vikings. Why is he not on your list?
How do you not have Harrison? What the hell?
You just missed out on mine.
Just because I just feel like coverage is more important. I kind of feel like Harrison Smith is declining a little bit. And that's mostly it. Honestly, that literally is it. Like I have other guys on here, which we'll talk about a little bit, Buda Baker and stuff, who I think is a big up and coming star. Obviously, I think there's other guys that just make a lot more impact than him, if I'm completely honest with you. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I don't know. I've never been the biggest Harrison Smith fan in general, but yeah, that's kind of my thing.
Jeff, to be completely honest with you, Buda Baker is not on this list. One person voted for him, and that was you.
I think we're disconnecting here. Sorry, guys.
I need a quick spoiler. I'm assuming I was the only one who voted Brian Burns.
No, someone else did actually. Someone actually had him fairly high. It may have been Jeff had him.
Okay. Nice. So maybe we'll see him at some point. Maybe not. Who knows?
Man, there's so many guys you just forget about. Like I'm just realizing now I just forgot about someone, and I'm like, wow.
Basically, everybody didn't put on the honorable mentions list were people who only gave 1 vote. So let me see. The player who was the highest voted who missed out. I think, sad because we need to see more from him just because he's so talented but can't stay on the field. Derwin James was Luca's 35th ranked player. Didn't make the list.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was a little bias in some of my votes. Obviously, my number 50 ranked player, Justin Jefferson, did not.
Oh my goodness!
I was Nolan. I had him at 50, and I took him out.
Oh,
I was like, Nolan's gonna kill me for this. I might bring the average down a little bit. I thought you guys were gonna have him. To be completely honest with you,
I was the only one. There was, I'm telling you, so many surprises. Another safety that missed the list. I should have mentioned this because Jeff, the safety man, Jesse Bates III, missed the list.
Interesting.
I had him. Luca had him. He had a fantastic season.
I feel like Jeff's gonna have the same reasoning as I need to see a little bit more. Like I just need a bit more from Jesse Bates.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, and this is obviously like, we don't have all 22 film. We can't analyze it the same way. We can do our best, but like, it's tough when you have other commitments and everything to look at these guys and pay attention to just the NFL all the time. I would love to watch more of Jesse Bates, but genuinely, like, it is kind of tough. Like, I guess we kind of did forget about him. Maybe he could have slipped in there. I'll even give you like a couple of the safeties I got here. Harrison Smith is 10, Eddie Jackson, Jeremy Chin, projection, obviously, Marcus Williams, Antoine Whitfield, Minka Fitzpatrick, and then Buda Baker, who you guys didn't vote for because you're fools. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good safeties.
There's a lot there, but Harrison Smith has been so consistent. We talked about consistency, and 10, man? Like Marcus Williams above him? Eek.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to 41. This is where we kind of tease. This is going to be the last one of the episode. Obviously, we're going 50 to 41. One person didn't have this player on their list. Jeff Wall didn't have this player on this list.
Oh, God.
But
Typical.
Bradshaw, Luca, and I did. Bradshaw and I were kind of in the same boat here. So Luca Moia had Alvin Kamara as
I knew it.
19.
Oh my God.
Give me some time to explain myself, Bradshaw, before Nolan, you're the host.
Bro.
Throw it to me, and I'll give it to you.
I'll throw it to you, buddy. I had him 48. I think not Luca. Bradshaw had him 42, and you had him 19. I think what was he? Was he your second ranked running back?
Second. Yes. Wow. Okay. First off, there's a lot of, I guess you can say, arguments about like who's the best running back in the league. Do I think Kamara is the best running back in the league? No. Do I think he's top 3? Yeah, I think he can sneak into the top 3. For me, it's more about, I think I'm just going into this year. I think he's going to be relied on so much because of the reasons that you pointed out earlier. Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Jameis Winston? Michael Thomas is out. We've seen how good this guy is. Like when he wasn't injured, like he was still pretty good, like pretty respectable running back. He was still in the top 10 in all categories. But then last year, 21 touchdowns from scrimmage, 750 yards receiving and running. Only running back to do that. And I think his workload is going to be huge this year. Like even bigger than Christian McCaffrey, I think. I'm talking like huge year because he's the only guy. Like he's literally the only guy. Him and Adam Trotman are the like big targets on the Saints offense. So I think it's going to go back to like his rookie year where he's literally going to get, I think, a touch or two every possession. And for me, seeing what Kamara has done in the past, I think he can live up to the expectation to be, I'm not going to go crazy and say 1,000, but pretty damn close. I think he's going to be that good.
Jeff's the one who didn't have him on, so I feel like should be the one that should explain why he should, the other side. But for me, it's just like, I don't like when I have him at 42, like there are at least 41 guys that I would rather have on my team. Fair. Above Alvin Kamara. Like I know he'll have the huge workload and everything, but when I'm ranking like for value, there are just guys I would much rather have out there than Alvin Kamara. Like if I could choose straight up to choose, I don't know, not to spoil it, but like Alvin Kamara and like, I don't know, a guy that we could probably like all say is agreed upon, he's on our list, like DeAndre Hopkins. Like I'm gonna have him over Alvin Kamara every time. I'm gonna have, I don't know, Jeff, tell us why you didn't have him, I guess.
So when I was looking at most of the running backs, pretty much all the really good ones also have a good offensive line. And it's really just a matter of like, they really don't do much when they don't have a good offensive line. That's not to say they're not talented. They are, but like the effect that they actually have on the game, right? Like kickers are talented too, right? But we don't put them on there, right? Obviously it's different, but you know what I mean? I'm kind of exaggerating, but I was struggling to like every time I would try to put like Nick Chubb because he was my number 1 running back. Every time I tried to put him on there, I was like, wow, this guy, I would rather have this guy. I would rather have that guy. I would rather have this guy. And I just kept pushing back and back and back and back every single time. And honestly, like the only reason I kind of put him on my list in general was because I just thought that he does a lot after, like once he gets past the line of scrimmage. Like I feel like if he had to make a guy miss or stiff arm a guy or
bounce
truck
off
him,
a guy,
bounce off a guy, I'm relying on him the most. Not that I wouldn't rely on Alvin Kamara, and I definitely see like the pass catching, route running argument there, but I just feel like, man, that Saints offensive line has been absurd his entire career. Like it's been really good. Same with Ezekiel Elliott, which is why he couldn't even come near here. And then Dalvin Cook is obviously amazing, but he has injury issues, right? So I couldn't put him there either. So that's for me, for pretty much all the running backs, that was the biggest hurdle for me personally.
That was the surprising thing. And obviously both you guys had great points. Jeff was limited on running backs. You're going to see his list eventually. He's just told you his number 1 running back was Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb did not make the top 50. Right. So, and I love Nick Chubb. I had him too. But I think you're right with the way Nick Chubb plays, man, like broken tackles, one of the best in football, yards after scrimmage. Like he's fantastic. Right. But it was surprising. You'll see the running backs on these lists and where they end up stacking up. And it's a little shaky. That is for sure. But that was maybe the biggest gap we had So
yeah. I knew it when you said it. I was like,
I teased it too much by
But
saying
yeah.
that. But
No, it's okay. No, I think it's mostly my projection. That's why I kind of had him really high.
You're right.
But
No
yeah.
Michael Thomas for the first couple of weeks, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, he should be eating for sure.
You guys better. None of you better take him in your fantasy draft. Then after what I'm hearing,
I have him on the list. I'm fine.
that's good. You're in the clear. You Jeff, I don't know, but you better take Nick Chubb at 1 if you're.
I'm always taking. I've taken him the last 2 years. Got me to the finals, baby. Let's go.
Okay.
Every time.
Cover 4 podcast. That is the top 50 players, 50 to 41. We will be back soon. Next episode, you know it, 40 to 31. We're going to continue this series. It's been an absolute blast. And again, more surprises in the next series. We will see you guys in a little bit.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.